Hey all, Tony Bing here, hello and welcome back to the channel. Now today we will be discussing the absolute mess that is Red Stars, an update that no one has really asked for and an update that could potentially kill the game. It's really that bad. Now in this video I always like to break things down, as you know, and try and look at them impartially, so I'll provide evidence as to why I believe this is such a bad change and how damaging it could be to the game in the long run. So in the video I'll start off first just giving a quick summary of the Red Star Orbs, how they work, and also the odds of actually getting the character you want at different star ratings. Once we've done that, we'll cover the areas of the game that I believe are affected by Red Stars, because it does bleed its way through to almost every single area of the game in a negative way, and also run over other general issues this update brings. Once we've done that, we'll look at characters that essentially can be completely broken once they get to a high enough rating at Red Stars. And then at the end, because I always like to do this because I'm not one just to complain and not come up with any kind of constructive solution, I'll throw out some ideas I've seen and how that we could hopefully dig our way out of this mess that we've found ourselves in. But first off, we'll look at the odds and how the scaling works. So I've started off with this section here because this is really the core of Red Stars, and then from here you see all the problems spread outwards as a result of this foundation. Now the first problem you have is when you get a 7 Red Star character, it's a 75% boost on their stats, which is just completely over the top. That's a stat gain you're getting in seconds, whereas to get anything even close to that previously in the game would take you months and months of grinding. You wouldn't even get close to that. In fact, you would upgrade your gear from 11 to 12 and you may get a 5% increase in your stats if you're lucky, and that could take you a month or so. The way the scaling works anyway is for 1 star it's 2%, 2 star is 5%, 3 star is 10%, then jumps to 20% for 4 star, so it means stars 1 to 3 are near enough useless. 5 star is 35%, 6 star is 50%, and then 7 star has that 25% jump there again, making all the previous tiers useless, because if you go up against a character, a similar team, and you've got 25% higher stats than they do, you're not going to have a chance against them at all. Now that's the first issue. The second issue is down to the amount of RNG involved. Now in some ways this could be a positive because it means that whales can't essentially just buy the rate of specific characters, but you have to bear in mind that whales will always have the advantage of being able to buy more roles than a regular player. But if we look at the roles, I've detailed it all here, but I'm not going to break it down because it's quite a lot to go through, but I'll look at basically 7 stars. So to get a 7 star character from a regular Red Star Orb, it's a 0.05% chance. That means it's 1 in 2,000. Now if you want a specific character, that's a 1 in 170,000 chance of getting that specific character. So you could get someone, gets lucky, unlocks Crossbones. They've only been playing the game a few months, but they have him at 7 star already through his event and through his shards. Then they've got a character that can smash every other character in the game, and it's just complete and utter luck that they've managed to get that. You've then got the insane rates on the elite Red Star Orbs as well. So for 7 star it's 0.5%, so that's 1 in 200, and it means if you're looking for a specific character from that orb, because you may need them to counter again another character that's 7 Red Star in an arena shard for example, you've got your 1 in 17,000 chance of getting them. So it's just luck. It comes down to nothing else. There's no strategy, there's no theory crafting, there's no tactics. It's just sheer luck that gives you these ridiculous stats. That's the 2 big problems, but as mentioned they spread out from here, so let's look at the areas that they spread out to. So one of the biggest problems I have with this update is that given an insane amount of power to any one character who can then brute force their way through content with little to no strategy, it means that all the synergy they worked toward recently, so the talk of the Spider-Verse coming in, there being synergy there, the synergy with the Brotherhood, the synergy with the Defenders, it just doesn't matter at all. You could be looking to run a Brotherhood or a Defenders team, but if you get a 7 star Quake, you can sure as hell you're going to drop the likes of Daredevil and put the 7 star Quake in there instead. So it's taking away that element, that synergy, which again, something they've really built on, is no longer going to apply to the game. You've got theory crafting, which is now pointless as well. So a few days ago I done the smashing the Brotherhood video. It was a ton of fun looking at different teams you could actually use to beat them. It's pointless now. All you need to do, get a 7 star character, again the likes of Quakes or Crossbones, and then simply throw them in there, and once again you're brute forcing your way through the content. So there's no skill involved. The only thing involved in your success is RNG and a pull on this slot machine. Do you get a 7-star hero that you've already leveled? You do. Okay, you've now won the game in the vast majority of the modes in it, and it's just purely down to luck, nothing else. Doesn't matter how long you've played the game. You could have played for a year, you can know the game inside out, you could know all the skills, you can know the rotations of characters, you can know the synergy of characters, and then someone that's been playing a few months gets lucky, gets a 7-star red crossbones, and there's no way you're going to be able to beat them if you go up against them, or no way you can compete against them in any way. Now, moving on from this, and this is something we'll look at in a lot more detail in the next section, is hero balance. There's a lot of characters that are completely broken once their power levels get put up to the level they're at. Ones I've already mentioned, for example, like Quake and Crossbones. There's no way you can compete against Crossbones because his stats will be higher, meaning you can't stun him, you can't slow him, so he'll get his round 2 turn of his ultimate and he'll have an insane amount of damage, enough to wipe out your team. There's nothing you can do about that. It doesn't matter how much you theory craft, how much you try and figure out teams. If you can't stun or slow, your characters are completely useless. Now, on top of that, you've also got the fact that this is going to take away the incentive for people to level and actually purchase other heroes as well. Like, why should you go in and level a hero when you've got a 1 in 170,000 chance of actually fulfilling their full ridiculous potential? You're going to hold off, you're going to wait, you'll maybe farm shards for characters, you're not going to put gear into them, and then if you get a 7-star for that character, even if you don't like them, even if it's a minion, if you get a 7 red star, if you want to progress in the game, then you're going to feel forced to actually level that particular character. Now, there are general areas of the game that are affected. However, as mentioned earlier on, this bleeds its way into different modes in the game as well. Now, the first mode is the arena. So recently you've had a lot of players that have spent a lot of time and a lot of money farming up the Brotherhood because they are a great offensive arena team. You have other players that have been farming the Shield for quite some time and they've had to farm all those rubbish crew members in order to get them. All that actually matters now in your arena shard is if someone can get a 7-star Crossbones. There's no way you can actually compete against that. I've already mentioned you've got the fact you can't slow them, you can't stun them. If that other person puts him in with the likes of Vision, you'll have defense up, meaning it's even less likely you'll be able to slow or stun him. You'll get that detonate off in the second turn, and I believe when I've looked at images that his damage is around about 12,000. So unless you've been lucky enough, and again, mention the word luck here because this is the only thing that comes in to actually getting to the top of the leaderboards here, unless you've been lucky enough and got some 7 red star tanks, you just don't stand a chance at all. Now, another issue that will come up is you've got the 5-minute timer in arena. If characters get the likes of, let's say, Thanos, now if he's at 7-star, 7 red star, he will have 250,000 health and he'll be gaining an insane amount of health on his ultimate due to the increased damage he'll be doing as well. Good luck taking him down in 5 minutes. Now, the next mode we look at is Blitz. This has been completely messed up as well. Now, with Blitz, everyone keeps their teams around the same power levels, so you'll run synergy teams, you try and keep them around about the same power levels, because the way Blitz works is if you go in with a team and it's power levels that vary, so let's say you get a really low character and a really high, the game will scale the power levels of the opposite team around that other character. So if you're running defenders and then all of a sudden you get a 7 red star character, that's going to pull up the power level of all the other characters you face against. It means your original character that's 7 red stars may do decent against them, but the other 4 characters will get absolutely smashed. And there is no way to actually avoid this, because at the moment, as soon as you unlock a red star upgrade for a character, it actually takes you to the screen and you're forced to accept that. You can't delay it. If there was any way to get out of that screen, as soon as you go back onto that individual character, it's going to force you to actually activate that before you can look at any stats in the character, upgrade any of their skills, or upgrade any of their levels. So you're completely locked in to destroying your existing Blitz teams that you've spent the last year and actually building and getting all the power levels to a similar level. We then have story mode here. Now, at the moment there are 5 campaigns in the game. If you get red star orbs, it will get you through the story easier, and that is great. The problem with this is it completely trivialises a large part of the game. There'll be, again, no skill, there'll be no challenge, there'll be no satisfaction in actually working your way through a level when you can just auto it because you've been lucky enough to get a powerful 7-star character to just wipe out the other characters there. Now, raids also affected by this as well, because raids of course will become a lot easier. Now, I'm not going to complain at all about the fact that I could hopefully hit auto and just go away and make a cup of tea and come back and my raid will be completed, but I'll mention the fact that that's not something that will go on for a long period of time. Eventually we will start to get raids where you're actually required to have red star characters to access them. The only way to get your red star characters up at the required levels you may actually need, again, it's just pure RNG. So you could be locked out raids in your alliance just simply due to the fact that you get terrible rolls. If you're myself, you'll know how that feels, but because you're just getting terrible rolls on your pools, nothing to do with skill, nothing to do with time you're putting in and anything like that. Again, just pure RNG. The RNG boils through to the raid leaderboard as well, because you have players that spend a lot of time trying to push to the top of the raid leaderboards so they can actually get the better rewards there, because there are slightly better rewards the higher you actually place. But there'll be other players that can now just hit auto and brute force their way through the nodes. Again, no skill involved, and you may be actually struggling a bit and setting up certain teams and synergies to get through these difficulties, and another player who can beat you doesn't have to do anything like that at all. And once again, I'll labour the point, it's just simply down to luck, nothing more than that. Now, the next mode is Dark Dimension. This is a bit similar to the raids and story, and then it will of course become easier. So that, for anyone that's played Dark Dimension, that is a good thing. I've got no real complaints about that. The big issue is that for completing the new difficulty in Dark Dimension, this may help you actually complete, you're going to unlock Ultron. Ultron's going to be complete trash tier now, next to 7 red star heroes. There's no way that Ultron could compete against some of the characters. You've got, let's say, you've got Star-Lord, 7 red star. It's going to be able to one-shot a character that could have took you potentially weeks or even months to unlock. So that's a flagship character for the game that upon unlocking him, it'll be completely useless, and the chances that in order to unlock them you'll need to have 7 red star heroes, so you won't be using them at all. Now, I will mention that they've not announced how they're going to allow you to upgrade Ultron to 7 stars, but I wouldn't be surprised if once again it's just down to RNG there. Now, before we do finish up with this section and move on to the characters this can affect, I'll just actually mention the fact as well about the rate of progress. So with this, overnight or at the click of a button, you can increase your character's power level by 75%. Now, they recently introduced Stark Tech to the game. Well, I say recently, I looked at it and it's actually been out for close to 3 months now. Now, in that time with my alliance, that's never missed a donation. We do only donate gold. We're up to, I think it's around about level 36 or so that means we can actually upgrade our characters by 10% for each of their stats. So that's took us 3 months to upgrade a character by 10%. If you look at other ways you upgrade your characters, such as the star rating, it costs you gold, so it takes long to accrue that gold. You've got the gear from gear 11 to gear 12, it takes an insane amount of time due to all the catalysts you need, or you can, via what is essentially the pull of a slot machine, get a 75% increase in your character stats, which is just completely broken. I can only assume that the money men are the ones behind this as opposed to the developers. Now, next up anyway, let's have a look at the characters that are affected by this. So a lot of characters in the game, the way they've actually been built is their stats are all set up in a way that they'll have strengths and weaknesses. So let's just say if a character can attack fast, for example, or hit hard, they might have low multipliers, or if they have high multipliers such as the likes of Gamora, then they'll actually have a low base damage to actually level that out. The same goes for some characters that you really have to lock down to stop them, so they'll have a lower resistance, and it means with the higher focus you can actually counter them. Now, with the 75% increase, given how small the spread in stats are, like let's just say for example the likes of resistance, it goes in the region of about 1,000 up to about 2,500, so that's a pretty small spread. When you add in an extra 75% of that, a character at the bottom rung on 1,000 resistance would then jump up to 1,750, making them far more likely to actually resist, and that can be their one and only weaknesses. Now, characters that could be affected by this, firstly you've got Black Panther and Gamora. They're characters that if you get to 7 star, they'll very likely have unlimited chains due to the insane amount of damage they're doing. I'll also mention as well, just before anyone actually counters the fact by saying, well, of course you may get a 7-star tank. Again, when we talked about that show odds of getting a specific character you may need in order to counter a specific character, even in the elite orbs, the chance of getting that character is 1 in 17,000 of getting that specific character at red star. Now the next character we'll talk about is one we've touched on quite a bit already. It's Crossbones. You get him, you're essentially going to be rank 1 in arena, and there's no way when someone goes in and fights that team, unless they've got a ton of red star characters themselves, again, insane amount of RNG involved there, will they be able to actually take you on at all. We've then got Iron Fist. Now when we look at the particular heal that he does, so he does in the region of 24,000 on his heal. With the red star upgrade he would be healing for up to 44,000 every time that procs per turn. Now, I'm not sure if anyone's played a game called Age of Magic, but it's a game where the healers are massively overtuned and they have huge health pools that they're able to refill each turn. This is going to happen for a lot of characters and healers, and it's not fun, and you're going to find in a lot of occasions and modes at times such as raids and arena, the match is only going to run out and you're going to have no chance to actually down the enemies. Now another character that's affected by the huge health pool they have would be Miss Marvel. 7 red stars, she would move up to 180,000 health, meaning when she does her heal, which does a whopping 70,000 as it is, it would move up to 110,000 that she is healing herself for. You then get Night Nurse. We all know that the heals are completely insane in her with the regen as well. And then we have Punisher. If you get Punisher and you go up against someone that spent a fair bit of time actually farming a Brotherhood team and a fair bit of money farming them, you're going to just absolutely melt them. We have Shield Medic, again the insane healing there. You've then got the likes of Sabretooth and Wolverine, how much they'll be healing per turn. So Sabretooth maxed out would have around about 175,000 health, and that would mean that he would actually be gaining, I believe if my maths is right here, it's around about 26,000 health per turn. Wolverine would be generating around about 32,000 health per turn as well. We've then got Thanos, who's completely insane, and if you put him in your arena defense team, anyone that doesn't have a full red star team, again through pure RNG, will have a ton of trouble actually taking him down, because his health, mentioned it earlier on in the video, is in the region of 250,000 health he would have. We've got Storm as well. She's pretty insane as it is, but with her ultimate maxed out at red star 7, you could be doing 350,000 damage. And then you've got Ultron. I've already mentioned the fact that a flagship character that takes a lot of work to unlock, and if he's not going to be at 7-star red, then he's going to be pointless using him. He's going to just get smashed by other players. Now the final section we'll talk about here is actually the possible solutions I think they can do to dig their way out of this mess they've managed to get themselves in. So the first solution I have here is down to the fact that you're being offered so much. The RNG completely sucks because it does remove any skill, but if you weren't offered as large gains, if you were offered gains that were small enough that if another player plays tactically or plays smart enough or really focuses on their characters, doesn't worry about the RNG at all, that they could perhaps sneak that win there, then I would be fine with that. At the moment it's 75%. I think it should be in the region of around about 25% at an absolute maximum, and it should be scaled better as well, because for ranks 1 to 3, I think it's 10% you get at rank 3, and then it just starts to get silly from there. The gains, even out the gains a lot more, make it something like, let's just say 3% gain for each level, then at the later levels you maybe get that 4% or that 5%, so you're getting a little bit more there, but in no way should it be as high as 75%. And I've already mentioned the fact that just the mind completely boggles that anyone that's played the game could think a 75% increase in stats wouldn't cause all the damage and have all these after effects on different modes that I've discussed earlier on in the video. Now if you are going to be changing the amount down, which I really believe is the only way out of this, then we've only actually sold 2 packs at £20 a piece so far, and I suppose you do have the pack for power cores as well. So if a change is to be done, it has to be done now before they start bringing out more packs and more expensive packs. If anyone's happy with getting a character downgraded, and personally if I had a 7-star character and they would still be top tier with getting the maximum rating of, let's just say, 25%, I'd be happy with that. But if anyone is unhappy with that, give them an opportunity to actually get a refund on how much they've spent and just revert a character back to how it was before the red stars were applied. Other actual suggestions I've seen here now, I do believe the loan percent is probably the easiest one to do, but other suggestions I have seen here are, for example, changing the normal orbs so that for the regular orbs you can only get rank 1 to 4, and what that means is it actually slows progression. The way with Stark Tech is slowed by your alliance level, the gains you get, you'd be slowing this as well, because you would have to really start to cap out characters at rank 1 to 4, keeping everyone within a relatively similar playing field before you start to get duplicates and you can move from 5 to 7. So that's a suggestion I like a lot. You've also got one that I believe it was Tona suggested, which is great in his video, and it's about making the orbs trait specific, so you're removing some of the RNG there. Overall, I would like to see a combination of all of these, and I'd like to see the stats come way down from what they are at the moment, because I've already mentioned it breaks numerous characters and modes, offer the refunds there, change the orbs so you get the 1 to 4, and then also make the orbs trait specific as well. Now I think that covers just about everything. I said 20 minutes, I didn't realise it would be that long, so apologies for that. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all again soon.